Hey guys, Emmer99 here and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to show you all the new features of Pro Cycling Manager 2024. Before we begin, thanks a lot for the support on the TDF video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content on the channel, much appreciated. But today is all about Pro Cycling Manager 2024. The game comes out 6th of June and you can find it on Steam. And first look on the main menu screen, there isn't much to talk about, so we're just moving straight to career mode to discover new features. I've opened a new career mode with Little Trek, and here in the dashboard I can see a new tab called Facilities. The Facilities tab offers new opportunities to make investments towards our team and gain the upper hand on our opponents. As famous Ineos director Sir Dave Brailsford often quotes, marginal gains. They can be the difference between winning and losing. On the left we have rider investments, which are assigned individually and has their own cost per rider. So what do we have in these rider investments? So firstly we have the time trial training bikes, which cost €3,000 per rider, and it gives a +1 on race day condition for time trial stages, both individual and team, for a season. Then we have 3D printed handlebars, which cost €10,000 per rider and give +1 on time trial and prologue attributes for 2 seasons, but the investment is lost if the rider leaves the team. Then the time trial skin suits that cost €2,000 per rider and it gives 0.7 on time trial and prologue attributes for a season. Then we have the most expensive one, the wind tunnel and the time trial position, gives +2 on each rider's time trial and prologue attributes for their whole career. It takes 4 weeks to implement and costs €20,000 per rider. Then finally we have the high performance tires, which give +0.2 on main attributes, so mountain, medium mountain, hill, sprint, cobble, flat per rider for a season, and it costs €2,000 per rider, so quite a cheap one, but it doesn't give that big of an advantage. So I think it's a bit too much time trial bias, and some of them are really OP in my opinion. Like €2,000 for +2 time trial and prologue attributes throughout the whole career is definitely a bargain. And I will believe not everyone needs this +2 time trial and prologue. For example, Jonathan Milan, okay, he's got 75 prologue, but it's not like a big game changer for him as he's a top sprinter. But for someone like Matthias Skelmose or Theo Gegenhardt, or someone like Juanpe Lopez, who's got only 63 time trial, this can definitely limit the losses in a time trial stage to the best riders in the world. Let's actually try. So for example, time trial bikes, €3,000 gives 1 race day condition. I don't think it's that big of an advantage, so I'm just going to pick my best GC riders like Skelmose, Theo Gegenhardt, Ciccone. We can also give it to maybe, not really Conrad, yeah, we'll give it to Conrad as well. Then for carbon time trial handlebars, again, I give it to these riders. They cost €10,000 each, but gives +1 on time trial and prologue for 2 seasons. So we can also go maybe Thibaut Nice, as he's a young prospect that can improve. Do we have any more GC riders among this list? Maybe Dan Hole, he's a time trialist, so he should get the boosts as well for the stage wins. Then the skin suit, just €2,000, so it's quite the cheap one. So I'm going to pick all the team to give this. So that's 2,000 plus 30, so that's 60,000 that we used. But the most crucial, the wind tunnel time trial position gives +2, so we'll add Mats Pedersen and Skelmose that one. And for high performance tires, they're not really worth it in my opinion, 0.2, so I'm not going to put any of those riders. Next to that we also have team investments. They are Cobblestone Classics materials, €30,000 for 1 season, gives +2 cobblestone for the whole team. This is definitely a bargain if you have the budget like Little Trek, so we'll slap that one on. Then we have chain optimization 1 and 2. One of them's €20,000, one of them's €50,000, gives +2 on all the stats and the prologue. So apart from time trial, I guess, all the primary stats. For a season, you can pick only one of them. So we'll give €20,000 to give 0.1. I mean, that's really marginal. And then finally, we got ceramic bearings optimization. Also gives 0.1 and costs €40,000 for the whole team. In the previous editions, the balance was a feature that didn't make any difference. Most of the time, especially in a World Tour team, you would find yourself 7 million staying in that bank and not being able to do much. In PCM 24 though, all the expenses here on this screen are made from the balance. Here we have 932k balance, which is our sponsor's monthly budget basically. And on the financial projection sheet right here, we can see that we have 75,000 euros unspent each month. Bear in mind that we will have additional costs such as training camps or hiring extra staff, but earnings via the prize money should be considered. But generally 75k a month means 900,000 a year is still unspent. So we can just click buy and these investments will be made. But I just want to show something else before. If you don't want to individually invest in riders, we have an AI helper that we pick our allocated budget that we want to spend, for example 312,000 euros. We go with this budget. We can then sort classics, major tour and time trial. So classics will be the most important one for us, like Mats Pedersen, then major tour, then time trial. Then we go with this order. Okay, then we're asked to give our leaders, important riders and other riders. So for example, we can add maybe Baggioli as an important rider, and then we say okay, and then it gives the AI feedback on what we should invest. So for example, for Theo Gegenhardt, everything. For Jonathan Milan, we got handlebars. For the whole team, optimization on both ceramic bearings and chain processing, and you can also confirm these investments. So we made our purchase, and this was just a one-time purchase, so our balance is now down to 662,000 euros, but we don't have to spend that on a monthly basis. Another feature that is new is the sponsor objectives. This section received multiple changes past few years, but this time it is more significant. In PCM 24, we do not have a confidence bar on the bottom of the screen like we used to do. Honestly, it was quite lame in my opinion. The objectives after August didn't really make much sense, and there were many unrealistic or quite the contrary, quite easy objectives set by the sponsor, which we couldn't change. So what are the changes? As you can see, we can see our Lidl and Trek as two separate sponsors, both from different countries of origin and have different important territories. Next to that, they also have their different important races. I mean, both of them are quite big sponsors, so they obviously care about the Grand Tours and the monuments, but Lidl, for example, care about the Paris-Nice. Also, I can see World in the important territories, which means that big sponsors are going to be happy if you sign superstars, regardless of their nationality. And we can also have season objectives that are not depending on a single race, but these ones we cannot change. So win 13 World Tour races and finishing the top 12 of the team ranking in the world. In the race objectives tab on the left, we can see all the races in our calendar. We can also see if it's important to each sponsor. So for example, Tour de France is 4-star importance for both Lidl and Trek. For example, Paris-Nice, we just mentioned, 4-star for Lidl, 3-star for Trek. And also, for example, Il Lombardia, 3-star for Lidl, but 4-star for Trek. In the middle, we have the objectives tab. And we actually have some kind of freedom on which races to pick and what the result that we're aiming for. For example, in Giro d'Italia, we can pick 2 stage wins, which will be 1 difficulty. For example, if we up it to top 3, it will be 5 difficulty, so very difficult. I don't know what these visibility 10 and 9 are. Currently we have no description as it's a pre-release version of the game. But for example, if you put it to first, we have this fire emote saying extremely difficult. Is it really wise to tempt fate? But this feature allows us to new opportunities such as win 4 stages, win 3 stages, top 20, which sounds really bad in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if any team goes to a race aiming for a top 20. We also have the best climber classification, which is very easy, and the points classification, very easy, which are just simply wrong in my opinion. I mean, winning points classification is much harder than winning, I think, getting top 20 for sure. Also, winning 4 stages should be more difficult than achieving a top 5 in my opinion. Like 4 stage wins, like not many people can do it. For example, if we go with Jonathan Milan, we can say win 3 stages as a good objective for us. We can also actually see the rider objectives, that who are targeting this race in our team. So that's something that is visible also in the race objectives. But there is one thing that limits our freedom, which is the fulfillment of conditions. So we can have 1 to 2 races per period. And here on the left side we have the periods. So the first period is until 31st of March, which funnily Ronde van Vlaanderen makes it as it's the 31st of March exactly. Then we have the April and May, June and July, and August and December. So we cannot pick 3 races from the same period, and we have to have 1 race per each period. So for example, if I remove Il Lombardia, it says period 4 not fulfilled. So I have to go to period 4 and pick Il Lombardia. There are also total points, so total of 6 to 10 points over the season, and these points are determined by the length of the race. So the Grand Tours are 3 points, the weekly stage races are 2 points, and if we go all the way down, we can find that the Classics are 1 point. So for example, I currently have Ronde, Giro, Tour and Il Lombardia. If I want to add La Vuelta as another objective, it will be 11 points, and therefore I cannot do it. But for example, I also pick Paris-Nice as it's an important race for Lidl also, and say top 3. Then I'll have another difficult objective, and then we can also increase our average difficulty of chosen objectives, which is 3.4 at the moment. And this difficulty will impact our sponsor confidence. Here we see Lidl and Trek both having 50 confidence, and the maximum if objectives are achieved are 211 and 189. I don't know what these numbers mean exactly, but the higher the better money, which I would hope. For example, if we remove Paris-Nice from this, these numbers drop down to 156 and 176 respectively, so more objectives is definitely a much better thing. Again, some minors can be changed, such as winning 3 stages, winning 4 stages being less difficult than getting a top 10, but in my opinion, overall a great change. Final new feature in this tab is the prospecting, where I can see the list of sponsors that make offer to us, the details of those offers, and also our performance barometer, which means our visibility of our team during the last 30 days for the World Tour. So this page is just to attract new sponsors, and how good we do affects their interests and also maybe their offers. This was the main change on career mode. If I look at our squad tab, there's not much difference here. The objectives tab, no change at all. The planner tab, no change at all. When we go squad and fitness, we can see the preseason values that we had to do in another screen. This is changed, but I don't really like the change because now I have to check one by one which date is the earliest. Whereas before I could just sort them by what their first objectives was and then align the preseason's values accordingly. So, I mean, it's one less screen, but it's also more complicated. Okay, now let's advance in time a little bit and see how these changes affect. Okay, another thing to note that we can always add new riders to the investments, so it doesn't have to be on the January 1st, for example. And we can also remove, for example, here from Thibaut Nice, but it says one or several pieces of equipment have already been purchased, so we do not get a refund. Okay, we've advanced it into March, and I've not seemed to get anything at all from the facilities tab. So no mails, no nothing. Now we made it to March, and now we can see our investments in full flow. So for example, the biggest investment we did was Wind Tunnel, and it took 1 month to be done. And now I click on Mats Pedersen and see here race bonus time trial and a permanent bonus time trial. So now his time trial is 78 and his prologue 80. I went to scale mode to check, and he also has 78 time trial and 77 prologue. Now time for a little bit of gameplay. As you know, gravel stages have now made their way into Tour de France and Pro Cycling Manager games. I've already done a full race in the TDF game playing the Tour de France stage. But now it's time to check how it looks actually in PCM. So I'm going to be playing the Strade Bianche with the little Trek team that I've now opened a career with Tom Skuyens as our leader. As we can see on the favorites tab, we see flat, hill and cobble as the favorite, but since it's Strade Bianche, the hill stat seemed to be the most important one. Now we're in the race, we can also talk about another new feature. We're on the gravel sector. Now we press space or click the I, and now we have the race overview screen on our right. We can check the profiles. We can zoom in to the profiles like this one. We can see who's in the peloton and where the favorites are. For example, the favorites list, Pogačar was in front, so we will see Pogačar on the top. But if it was a flat stage, we would see, for example, Jonathan Milan or an opponent like Philipsen in this front. We can see the time gap nicely, and also a new feature is that the gradients are colored differently, just like the ASO profiles. So over 10% will be black and 8 to 10% will be red color. Okay, here in the gameplay we have Evenepoel and Vingegaard actually riding the Strade Bianche, also Tadej Pogačar. And now with 63 kilometers to go, there's a front group of 20 remaining and a peloton of 100. So now let's look at the profile. We can see now E1, E2, E3, E4. We go all the way back to see peloton of 20, then A1 rider, A1 of... Oh, it's changing so fast. Adam Yates, Jai Hindley, yeah, they're just behind at the moment. But yeah, the gravel seem to be affecting the riders' energy a lot. Yeah, just 56 kilometers to go. We're in this flat bit and the peloton just 22 riders with a big pace from all the big teams as well. We have Tom Skuins in this group, Pogačar is here, Vingegaard is here, Roglic is here. Actually, we can use the new feature to check out who's in the group. So, for example, we come to the peloton. We can see the time gap to the front of the race as well. So the A2 will only have 4 minutes 13, while the peloton 3 minutes 10. And we can see also the time gaps between groups as well. Good feature. Okay, with 50 kilometers to go, Tadej Pogačar launches an attack. Or is he launching? I don't know. The peloton's not responding at all. We have the breakaway in front and Tadej Pogačar right there. Right now in Monte Sante Marie, we are going to up the tempo also to try and catch Tadej Pogačar who's going for sure. And now Primož Roglic, Lutsenko, Pidcock and Vingegaard and Evenepoel tries to follow us. Well, I guess the race is realistic as Tadej Pogačar now has 1 minute on this group. With Pidcock, Roglic trying to actually follow as well, but it's easier said than done. Yeah, not much happening in this stage apart from that Pogačar attack that no one could react. Now 23 kilometers to go, and I think we have to try something to maybe initiate, an attack. So Skuins, we are attacking with 22k to go, 1 minute to Tadej Pogačar just ahead. And again, no followers to our attack, but the pace has increased. Just 5 riders remain in this group. Okay, 18k to go, and Pogačar is going to be caught by this group. So Pogačar's attack at one point had 1 minute 30, but in the end he got caught. So what happens now? Or not yet. I mean, this group is 25 seconds, so I guess we gotta work with Tadej Pogačar. Yeah, Tadej Pogačar with his attack does not look good. He's doing gestures suggesting that he's out of energy, so which is pretty poor in my opinion. I mean, he attacked in a good way. He's definitely one of the strongest in this terrain, and he's not able to win the stage from there. So that's a bit disappointing. But for us, it's a chance that we can win it with 10 kilometers to go. Okay, here's the big attack from Tom Pidcock. We try to follow, and we do. Now 7 kilometers to go and just 2 climbs remaining. Okay, just 3 kilometers to go, and I see there's... Okay, there it is. The follow button is here. So I was really scared for a second. We're following Tadej Pogačar. And it's going to be, I think, the narrow road to the Siena. Via Santa Catarina is here. Tom Pidcock starts sprinting. Tadej Pogačar also. We're trying to follow them. We still have a little bit of red bar to go. but no, we're just falling behind. We don't have the acceleration that these guys have, and the last turn it's going to be Tom Pidcock, is it? Yes, Tom Pidcock wins the Strade Bianche in a 4-man sprint. So, overall verdict on the gravel roads. I believe the game can simulate who does well in the gravel quite well. As you can see, we've got Pogacar, Evenepoel, Roglic, Lutsenko and Pidcock in a strong group in Strade Bianche. Maybe the cobble stat does affect a little bit too much, but apart from that, the gameplay was actually quite fun to play. I know I couldn't show you the whole stage, but since I've already played the gravel stage in the TDF game, I didn't want to show 10 minutes of the gravel stage, so this was it. Actually, another career mode feature we can see here, visibility 6. So the race is finished, look at your visibility score on the final stage. There we go. So we got 6 in the visibility points. We got top 5 of the race. We had someone in the front group as well. We didn't go on the breakaway. We worked in front a little bit and it was a 6 score. So in the race objectives, remember, we could pick visibility 9 or 10 as sponsor goals. So 9 or 10 would mean probably in a Grand Tour winning like 5 stages, the KOM, the points and everything, or getting the GC leader for 10 days. This needs to be a little bit more studied, but from what I understand, it's a nice method for sponsor objectives to have a visibility. Okay, and finally, we'll do a bit of a sprint gameplay. I've heard it's also changed, especially in the last kilometers. Now it's not so easy to get blocked, which would be a great change. Because in PCM 23, sprint stages were just awful. It was just simply torture to play. It was very hard to get a win, which in my opinion is actually a good thing, but it was even hard to get a top 5 or top 10 where all the AI sprinters sprint at the same time, get it perfectly, and become in like a straight line where you cannot just pass. So let's see how the sprint gameplay looks in Pro Cycling Manager 2024. And what better way to play it with Jonathan Milan in the career mode.
A few moments later.
So we're going 92. And actually with 3 kilometers to go we have to go 99. We are a bit late here. And we're getting blocked by Arvid de Klein. Oh dude, that's a big block. So I thought there was no blocking. As you can see, I am very much blocked. So don't know what to do here. I mean, it's my mistake to be in this position, so I cannot blame the game or anything. But yeah, this is just not going to happen. And just like in PCM 23, we get 12th or 15th place with Jonathan Milan. Nice one game. Well, you've just seen what happened in the first take, so time for take 2. We're gonna be back building our sprint train. Team de Klerk, then Gibbo, then Consonni, then Jonathan Milan, and all this BS about not getting blocked, total myth. It was a total failure in our first attempt. So we're back sprinting with Jonathan Milan. Now 11k to go, and look at this. There are currently, I don't know, 30 people in here, and they're all trying to fight for position. Oh, it's just awful. But now we've got some gap with de Klerk, and hopefully Consonni, can you just please follow them? And the answer is obviously no. We just can't. Yeah, there we go. Milan stuck in the middle somewhere. And Tim de Klerk in front with 7k to go. We're trying to go to the right to try to connect. Come on, Milan. Oh my god, this is just painful. This is just absolutely painful. Now we're gonna try going left. Come on, Milan, connect with us. He did. Now let's go. 5k to go. Let's go. Let's speed up. There we go. We're in good position now. With 4k to go, now we have a turn. De Klerk's energy is already over. We have to switch to Gibbo. 3k to go, and yeah, Gibbons is trying to stay in front. Now this is much better. Okay, I see people inside each other. 1.7 to go. Gibbo goes. Actually, let's go with Consonni. We cannot get the acceleration that we wanted. Jonathan Milan tries to come from the left, come from the right, and no, he gets absolutely blocked everywhere. So the sprint gameplay is not fixed at all. So, and who? Emilien Janier. Who is that? Okay, the French sprinter won, head of all these guys here. So yeah, perfect. Okay, one thing also I've noticed in the career mode, you can see Evenepoel 83 time trial, 79 prologue, Josh Tarling 81, 81. I just looked at the stats and Evenepoel 85, 81 and Tarling 83, 83. So all these riders have also got the time trial boost. So basically nearly all the time trialists have a +2 on their time trial and +2 on their prologue. If I click on it, I cannot see if they do have it or not, so we just have to guess. And also this search tab is renewed, so we can actually search for under 23 riders, under 21 riders, or over 33 riders, and look at their stars. So we can look at 2 stars plus, 3 stars plus, whatever, and then look at the cobblestone quality riders and everything, and we can also clear the filters. We also have a short list that we can add riders as well. And finally, before I close this video, just gotta say, when the game comes out, be sure to subscribe to WorldDB for the best database in the game. So you don't have to play with Remy Edendul on Team Merlier, and you would have also many continental teams, not just 20, but nearly all of the UCI teams will be available after launch. But check the Steam Workshop and download the WorldDB. But that will be it for the Pro Cycling Manager reveal video. If you've enjoyed it, please drop down a like and subscribe if you are new. That would help me massively. And until then, see you with the new videos.